Hello and welcome to today's Tech Tip. Today we're going to be talking about intermediate probe moves. Now before we go into explaining exactly how to do those, we need to know what an intermediate probe move is. And what that is being able to insert probe moves within a measurement. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off and we're just going to look at a very basic scenario, and then we're going to go from there and show you how to get into the intermediate probe moves. So I have a segment open here and I've got four measurements here, four surface measurements, nothing fancy here. And you can see measurement 2 and measurement 3, we have a problem, we have a crash, we have a blue connector that goes straight through the part. So like in any situation, we're just going to go and fix this as we normally would. So we're going to go and do the probe move command, and then we would pick one of these measurements, and we want to put a probe move based on this. We're going to put it up about an inch, but we want it to go insert it after this measurement. So we pick the blue connector after the measurement. We hit enter, and then we enter a value, let's say of 1, and we'll say OK. And you can see we have a nice little probe move going up. And then we would do the same thing typically for the other side. We'll do the probe move command again. It's going to be relative to this measurement, so we'll pick the measurement, and we want this to be before the measurement, so we pick the blue connector before it, and that's where we're going to insert it. We hit enter, and we're going to select a value of 1 again, and we'll say OK. So we now have a scenario where we got these 4 surface points, and we have 2 probe moves that are going over the part. No problems, no crash now. Now that's fine and dandy with surface measurements, but what if we have a measurement like this one here? I'm going to open up this segment, and now we have a plane measurement. You can see. How do I handle something like that? Well, typically in the past you would just double click on the plane measurement, edit it, and change the clearance height to be 1 mil or something to get over that. Now the problem, of course, is that means you're going to have clearance a height of 1 mil for every one of these surface hits. And we don't necessarily want that. We may definitely not want that. So we only want that for hits 2 and 3. So that's not a good scenario. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same command as we did with the surface measurements. So I'm going to say probe move, and we're going to pick this measurement hit, and then we're going to pick the connector. Now it's not a blue connector, it's a yellow connector in this case, but that's okay. Pick it anyway. And now we'll hit enter, and we get prompted for the same thing. Move relative by, we'll say 1. We'll go up, and you can see the yellow measurement is actually going up and taking a little jump up into the air there. And we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Same command, probe move, and we pick the measurement vector, and then we're going to pick the connector, the yellow connector, of course, in this case. And we'll prompt it for the same thing, move relative by 1. So now you can see we have this intermediate go-tos, these intermediate probe moves on this single plane measurement. And if you look in the browse, you can see there's no probe moves in here. It's just still a single plane measurement. Okay, so what if I want to get rid of one of these? Just going to rotate the part. If I want to get rid of these, all we have to do is go to the modify menu, and we're going to go to these augmented commands, and we're going to say remove augmented point. Now you've used this before to remove measurements out of an augmented line, but we're going to do this, and all you have to do is get close to where this corner would be. So all you have to do is get close. I'm not even going to pick right on it, just get close. Hit enter, and you can see it's removed it. So that's how you get rid of them. Now that's one scenario where we have surface measurements like that. Let's go look at a second scenario in this other segment. I'm just going to rotate the part down here so we can actually see. You can see where it's cutting the corner here. There we go. So how do we handle something like this? Well, we have 2 commands that we could use in the probe ribbon. One is probe clearance move, and the other one is insert intermediate move. And I'll show you how the two of them here. So let's do the first one, probe clearance move. Select that, and on the first one, all you do is you pick a point out here where you want to go, and then pick the yellow connector where you want to insert it. And we hit enter, and now you can see we have a nice intermediate probe move to get us around the corner. Now the other way of doing it is to use the insert intermediate move command. And with that, we don't have to pick any points. All we do is pick the yellow connector. And you can see what happens as I move my mouse cursor around. It's just letting me choose any point I want out here. So I'm just going to go and click out in space. Okay. So you can see both commands will achieve the same goal. It's just a little bit different. Now, one final thing in today's tech tip, we're going to use this remove augmented point again, and I want you to remember that it always remembers that this is a probe move in here. So as I start taking points away, you'll see what happens here. I'm going to remove this point here. Okay, now here's the good one here. Watch when I remove the next one. What's going to happen with this intermediate probe move that's out here? It becomes a standard probe move you can see in the programming browser. Okay, and one final thing, these intermediate probe moves are also recognized by the explode command when you go in the rename utility. So if we go up here to the rename utility, and I'm just going to explode this whole thing here. And you know, down the bottom left here, explode surface trim measurement. So we'll say OK. And you'll notice in the bottom left corner here on this first measurement, this intermediate probe move is now an actual probe move since we've exploded everything. Thank you for watching, and hope you've enjoyed today's tech tip.